Welcome back to Thoughts While Thinking. And the opinions expressed here are mine and mine alone, and they don't represent anybody else's. And not a sponsor or associate. And we appreciate T-SPAN, Texas News Digest, giving news particularly interested Texans. And today I don't think I'm rearranging my prejudices. I think I'm just taking the facts of the matter and the history of the last 50 years and doing a lot of thinking about that. And while I'm doing that kind of thinking, I was thinking about those old pharaohs back in Egypt. You know, they had lived high on the hog and had all the slaves and take care of them and everything. But in the end, what happened? They were buried by the slaves. Now think about that for a little bit. Now, we've got the Constitution of the United States, and that's kind of like that old Pharaoh. And we've got the government, and that's kind of like a slave to the Constitution. But right now, we're about to get buried by our slaves. The government is waging war on us people. And there's no getting around it. And they've been doing it for many, many years, but it just kind of all come out in the open under President Obama. And that's uh, where we are today. We're just fighting that uh, deal, fight against the Constitution. They're violating it every time we turn around. Well, we're worried. They're happy about that on the left. And Soros, many years ago, 50, 60 or 70 years ago, said he was going to destroy America. He hated America for some reason. But he's got his fortune built by destroying countries, and I guess this is the biggest plum he could think of. Well, he's a pretty smart fella and got lots of money to back it up, and he's funding the Black Lives Matter and Tifa, the extreme left and the extreme Democrats, and anybody that wants to wage war and cause conflict on the people and divide us and get us into a cold civil war. Well, right now the government is enforcing the laws they want to enforce. They're ignoring the laws that they don't want to enforce, and they're suing the states for what they're trying to establish their states' rights. And the government is just sneaking up, has just snuck up behind us, slapped us up behind the head, and we turn around and try to protest, and the police powers of the government just knock us back down to our knees. And the House of Representatives and all these people here, they've been a part of it for years. And well, it all started back in 1868 when they established the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment does away with an ambiguous statement about how uh, the federal government has the power over the states. And in the 10th Amendment, it gives all the powers to the states that are not specifically detailed to the federal government. So the 14th Amendment just almost does away with states' rights. And it was brought about because of the freed slaves, and they wanted to make sure that it was all done for good reasons. But these good reasons have just emasculated our country. And every time there's a big issue and disaster, they come up with a different department and a different law or something. And right after 9/11 is a good example of Homeland Security was established. Well, the Homeland Security in pursuit of good for the people, the protection of the people, the security of the people. They violated nearly every civil liberties rights that we had. And the government is using all of this to keep us middle class pushed down and pour money into the deep swamp in the political pockets. And part of the support of all of that stuff is the high tech media. They've determined that free speech is bad, that if you say something that offends somebody, that is probably going to be hate crimes, a hate speech, and free speech is gone. They're just about anything they say could offend somebody. So this offending people is just all done away with the First Amendment. It's caused a lot of conflict. And we've got all these conspiracy projects working. And in 1978, on October the 17th, they established the Department of Education. That was the demise of our local school system. And the federal government that took over the education, and they're pushing all of this stuff. And it wasn't good enough, so they've come back and supported it a little bit more with No Child Left Behind. Well, it's all for the children. Boy, can you imagine it's all for the children? Well, we can pass that bill if it's all for the children. And Congress has been using that for the children for years and years, and they're getting away with it. And they've got away with it. And then I brought about the big teachers union. And the big teachers union has found a place in the federal government. They got a lot of support in the federal government, in the White House, and so forth. And now then they're to help destroy America. They're pushing this critical race theory, and it's being pushed by all of the teachers unions. And the teachers unions, they just keep going on strike and getting more money and adding to the big coffers in Washington. But it's all for the children. And socialism is where they're trying to go, and socialism is the new slavery. Look around the country, the world, the whole world of that their socialist is slavery. And some of our school boards have been fighting back against this Antifa and the teaching of Marxism and hate America in our schools, and we got to continue that fight. And Biden's bodyguards had been Twitter and Facebook have been protecting the federal government and all of their accomplishments for years and years, and it's getting more out and extreme. And this critical race theory is about all about lies. I think they're telling the truth and doing away with the falsehood. That's what they're telling you. But they are doing away with the history of everything that made America great, and rewriting it with something that uh, develops whatever they want to develop more right, their narrative. And teachers union, they're going all out on this critical race theory. And if you're white, you're evil. Whiteness is bad. Whiteness is racist. And anything white is bad. And you've got all these liberal white people going on strike and stuff and supporting that. And that kind of is hard for you to wrap your mind around, about how these left wing white people are, they're trying to destroy America. And the teachers union are teaching Marxism in our schools. And there's some of them are doing it out in the open, and some of them are kind of got it hid under the deal. We got to watch it. And the world is full of this deception, and they're ripping apart our Constitution and doing so. And the First Amendment, if you remember, it says that Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to assemble and to petition the government for their grievances. Well, we can't do that anymore. And the symbol of the Statue of Liberty has been demolished, and it's just buried in the ground. And the Black Lives Matter is part of the federal government now, and Soros and all of them, and they've done away with our natural law, the freedom order of we the people, the natural law they are fighting against. And they're saying that all of this is all good to destroy the Constitution, even if it saves one life. Well, that's almost as good as for the children, save one life. If it just saves one life. And Disney and Apple, they've just gone off on this transgender deal, and they're doing away with any kind of uh, pronouns that refers to boys or girls, gentlemen or ladies or anybody like that. And they're saying it was done for to help that magical moment for young children who apparently have already considered whether or not they identify with their biological sex. Now, how many kids do you think that are in the first, second, or third grade or fourth grade uh, are considered whether or not they're different than what their biological sex are? I mean, it's got to be put in their head someplace. And Disney, they're just pushing it. They've gone from off the wall. And we're going to have to quit co-parenting with the government. We're going to have to take our schools back and start teaching our kids how to think and not what to think. And they're just about to toss the last dynamite on a constitution that's holding back our freedom and government from destroying our country. And they're doing this with usury taxes and high interest rates and regulations on businesses and farms and mortgages and everything. It's just in the government they're using their police powers to create this new slavery under taxes. And we said in the past that the enemies outside the great are dangerous, but those within are deadly. Well, I'm showing you the enemies within right now, and it's deadly. And our world government is out there pending on us, and we got to strike back some way or another. Uh, we got to be the empire that strikes back, and we got to get rid of that United Nations. And the high tech is just promoting all this globalization and everything, and all this anti-American stuff, and it's unreal. And the news media, they're sitting there saying that you don't think for yourself, you just got to listen to us, and they're pounding that 24/7. And while we're out searching for missing constitutional rights, we're trying to find them. And once liberty is lost, it's gone forever. And gun control is another issue that comes up that don't make any sense. You know, if you take away all of the guns from the good, law-abiding citizens, and only the criminals in the government has guns. Now that is a catastrophe in waiting. And the freedom is not free. If you remember, we fought many wars and spilled a lot of blood defending our freedom. And Sol says that freedom is unlikely to be lost once and openly. It is more likely to be eroded by a little bit at a time, bit by bit, and under the glittering promises and expressions of noble ideas. Well, that's pretty much the truth. And Jefferson said basically the same thing. Freedom is lost gradually from an uninterested, uninformed, and uninvolved people. And that's what we've got right now. We got to get involved. And Abraham Lincoln, he said about the same thing. He said, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedom, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. And that's what we're doing. We're doing exactly that. And one day we're going to hang our heads in shame when we realize the evil that we've defended and the heroes we've ridiculed are the ones that was trying to save us from this slavery. And those who have known the freedom and lost it, as Reagan said, will never know it again. And we're here wandering around in that twilight zone of the mystery of the hypnotized uh, from the government and the media, and says that there's no crueler tyranny than that it is perpetuated under the shield of law in the name of justice. And does that look like the history we're doing through right now? Well, it does to me, and I think maybe you'll think it is too. And if we get into this globalization, there's not going to be any local. You ain't going to be local. You're just going to be a speck on the wall of United Nations one world government. And you know, when part of this all come about by about the minimum wage, I'm kind of backing up here, but it just kind of brought this thought to me that if you keep on digging that hole, you're going to get deeper and deeper. Well, consider the capitalism. The minimum wage is a violation of all things considered capitalism. Government ain't got no place of telling you what the minimum wage is. But if you increase that minimum wage to $10,000 an hour, they're still going to be on the bottom, and they're still going to be digging deeper, and they're still going to be there, and just to contribute to inflation and misery on the masses. And we're sitting here in the twilight zone and not paying attention to what's going on. We've got to wake up, and we got to remember that roses are red and bacon is savory, and the U.S. tax code is legalized slavery. That he's nailed that down pretty good. And this guy here, he's he's got it so right. We think that we're the best and we love ourselves more, but we look at other people and outside for opinions and thoughts, and we value them more than we do our own. And some of us has been crying, "Wake up, America," since 1917. Well, we ain't woke up. We're still dwelling in that twilight zone. And if we can't think for ourselves, and if we're unwilling to question authority, then we're just putty in the hands of those in power. But if the citizens are educated and they form their own opinion, then those in power work for us. In every country, we should be teaching our children the scientific teaching of methods and reasons for the Bill of Rights. With it comes a certainty and decency and humility and community spirit. And the demon haunted world that we live in will stand between us and developing darkness. Well, think about that for a little bit. And you know, there's nothing more stupid than those people that see the truth and still believe the lies. Well, that's what we've got 50% or more of the people doing that right now. And you got to just understand the facts that government is versus the people, and they're winning right now. And Reagan, you know, he said when we get in all this inflation and financial trouble and stuff, we got to make tough calls. Well, the liberal left say we just need to struggle and pass more money, more stuff for everybody. Let's create more inflation. So we dance around like babies in a diaper and waiting for the next bottle to come along. Well, the media, you know, we got to understand that the media can't push us anymore. There's thousands of us digital soldiers out there and spreading the truth within hours. Narratives that would last for weeks are destroyed in days. We are the news. We are the star. We need to exercise that. Everybody that's got a computer is able to do that. And that's our thoughts while thinking and rearranging our prejudices. And I hope we've done something good today. Thank you and adios. Did I get a tape? Oh,